Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshorunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jayatam Surataur Pango Mandamatergati Matsarvaswapadam Bojau Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumado Srimad Ratnagar Simhasanasto Srimad Radhashila Govinda Devo Preshtali Bisevya Mano Smarami Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtai Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasade Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Dadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namo Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees, for very kindly joining in our continuation of the Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta in the Madhya Leela, in the section where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the age between 24 and 30, and he is on his tour to different places, and primarily in the South India, he meets different sadhus. And we left off at the point where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking with the Tattvavadi Vaishnavas. And as he was talking to the Tattvavadi Vaishnavas, they initially thought that Mahaprabhu is a Mayavadi because he has taken sannyas from the Mayavad tradition. But later, as they speak to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu extols the truth of pure bhakti, Krishna bhakti, bhakti with no strings and attachment, anya abhilashitam shunyam. Later, these Tattvavadis fall at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to take his blessings and mercy. So this is the point where we left off day before yesterday. Of course, yesterday we did not have because we had the Bhakti Sangha class, but nonetheless we are again back in order to continue and help Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his journey to go to different places. While going to different places, Mahaprabhu is also illuminating our hearts and teaching different principles through these different pastimes. Now, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in South India, eventually now we will see Mahaprabhu comes to Maharashtra. Thereafter, Lord Chaitanya visited Phalgu Tirtha, Panchaspar Tirtha, Gokarna, Kolhapur in Maharashtra, Kolhapur, and reached Pandharpur and saw the temple of Vitthal. He heard that Sri Rangapuri, a disciple of Sri Madhavendra Puri, was in Pandharpur and immediately went to him and offered obeisances. They both embraced and cried in ecstasy. Lord Chaitanya then informed Sri Rangapuri about his relationship with Sri Ishwarapuri. What is the relationship? Ishwarapuri is the Guru Maharaj and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the disciple. And that his birthplace was Sri Navadvip Dham. Sri Rangapuri then recalled accompanying Sri Madhavendra Puri to the house of Jagannath Mishra, where he had lunch, which means Sri Rangapuri had been to the house of Jagannath Puri. He has been to Navadvip. He has been to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house. He even remembered he even remembered the taste of an unprecedented banana flower curry. Many times it happens, right? We go to some devotee's house and they offer prasadam, and we meet them after maybe couple of years or whatever, and we may not remember the conversation or anything, but we remember, you had made this prasadam, you had made puri sabji or whatever, and the conversation or the tattva or whatever was discussed was not remembered, but Prasadam menu was very nicely, we remember. So here also Sri Rangapuri tells Mahaprabhu, oh, I actually remember when I came to your house, your mother had made nice banana flour curry. It was made by the chaste Shachimata. She was the mother of the universe, expert in cooking, affectionate towards the sannyasis, and fed them actually like their own sons. One of her sons, Shankararanya. So Shankararanya is Mahaprabhu's older brother by the name Vishwarup. So he was called as Vishwarup earlier, and after sannyas, he got the name Shankararanya. He became sannyasi at a very young age and attained perfection at Pandharpur. So it is explained in Mahaprabhu's older brother, the place from where he left this world was in Maharashtra, the holy place of Pandharpur, where Vitthal and Rukmini are worshipped. Lord Chaitanya said, in my previous ashram, Shankararanya was my brother and Jagannath Mishra was my father. Why previous ashram? Because now Mahaprabhu is sannyasi. And earlier, when he was a grahastha, then these relationships made sense. But as a sannyasi, there is primarily only one relationship. Jivera Swarupahoy Krishnera Nityadas. That's the only relationship for a sannyasi. And ideally, that's the only relationship for all of us. That's the only ultimate form of relationship. Mhm. The only relationship that's long lasting. The only relationship that never ends. The only relationship that never fades away with time. The only relationship where the person doesn't cheat. The only relationship where the person doesn't leave us ever. That is Krishna. Every other relationship of this world fades away with time, will cheat, will leave us, will die, because everyone is subject to time. And as time changes, इंसान का रंग भी बदल जाता है. The person also changes. But for Krishna, time doesn't act because he is time. He is Kalosmi. He is time. So time doesn't act on him. Time acts on others. But Krishna is Kalosmi. So time really doesn't act on Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is remembering as to how in his previous ashram, his older brother Vishwarup took sannyas and became Shankararanya and left this world in Pandharpur. Actually, it is Pandharpur. In Marathi, Pandra is one of the colors. Pandharpur. But now it has become Pandharpur, Pandharpur, Pandharpur. People now say Pandharpur, but it's Pandra. Pandra and Pur, Pandharpur. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is remembering. In fact, when we go to the ISKCON Pandharpur temple, the temple made by His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. So there we find when we are in the backside of the temple near their Goshala, we will have footprints of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and even Vishwarup, Mahaprabhu's older brother. Oftentimes, maybe in our ISKCON temples, we may have the lotus foot imprints of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. But there we will have Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and also Vishwarup, Mahaprabhu's older brother. Why? Because that was the place where he left this world. And this is explained in Caitanya-caritāmṛta and personally told by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After staying at Pandharpur, actually, the story is very interesting for those who are not from Maharashtra. Maharashtra has a very rich culture of so many sadhus, of so many saints who have blessed that place in the form of Tukaram Maharaj, in the form of Sant Jnaneshwar, in the form of Sant Janabai, in the form of Sant Sokhamela. There was a sadhu by the name Sant Sokhamela in Maharashtra. And when Sant Sokhamela left this world, his body was cremated in the cremation grounds. And eventually, because many bodies were cremated, afterwards when they came, they had no idea which was the body of Sukhamela because he was a sadhu, he was a saint, and it's important to identify the body of a sadhu. So his body was cremated based on his own desire, and later they were trying to figure out which is his body. So they were going through each and every body, but once the body is cremated, it's a skull, it's a skeleton. How will you figure out kiska sharir hai? So when they were going from one body to another body to another body to another body this way, they came across one skeleton And when they put their ears near the skeleton, from the skeleton, after the body was completely burned, from the skeleton, they could hear Vithala, Vitthal, Vithala, 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 Vithala. After the person has left, after the body is completely cremated, it's just it's a skeleton. It's just bones. But from his bones, from his skeleton, every pore was chanting the name of the Supreme Lord. So we can imagine how much bhajan he would have done while he was alive in this world in order for his even bones to chant the name of the Supreme Lord. It's kind of engraved inside him. इतना भजन किए होंगे कि मानो अब शरीर में नहीं, जो हड्डी है हड्डी के अंदर चला गया है भगवान नाम. So inspiring. Now these are personalities who may not be in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, but we take inspiration from them. We take inspiration. When was the last time when someone was burnt or someone was cremated and from their bones we could hear Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? It doesn't happen. It's not something that's very commonly seen. But this is Maharashtra. Maharashtra has a very, very rich culture and a very rich tradition. Sant Jnaneshwar, when he was only about 16 years old, he wrote Jnaneshwari, which is nothing but a Marathi commentary in the Bhagavad Gita. At the age of 16, writing a commentary and doing the translation and the commentary in Marathi language called the Jnaneshwari, written by Sant Jnaneshwar. Now, interestingly, when he wrote Jnaneshwari, he wanted to give this Jnaneshwari to someone. So he was walking on the street of Maharashtra. And as he was walking on the street of Maharashtra, he saw a buffalo. So he thought, well, okay, let's give this Jnaneshwari to a buffalo. How do you give a Jnaneshwari? How do you give a Bhagavad Gita to a buffalo? When we imagine when we go out on book distribution, we give books to human beings. We don't go and find a cow or a dog and say, well, this Bhagavad Gita is for you. Does it make sense? But Sant Jnaneshwar said, well, I anyway have to give Jnaneshwari to someone. Let's start with the buffalo. Buffalo se शुरुआत करते हैं. He went to the buffalo and he touched the head of the buffalo. It is explained when Sant Jnaneshwar touched the head of the buffalo, that buffalo started chanting 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita in the form of Jnaneshwari. This is Maharashtra. This is Maharashtra. This was Sant Jnaneshwar. He touched the head of the buffalo and that buffalo was saying, Sarvadharman Paritejya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. So you have one sadhu in the form of Sant Tukaram whose bones are chanting the holy name, while on the flip side you have another sadhu who is touching a buffalo and that buffalo is chanting 700 verses of the Gita. And what to speak of Sant Tukaram, the celebrated hero of Maharashtra. Just like hmm, just like we in our Gaudiya tradition have Rupa and Sanatan. Similarly, the Maharashtras have the Varkari Sampradaya. And in the Varkari Sampradaya, Sant Tukaram Maharaj is considered like almost like our Rupa Goswami, very, very glorious. And indeed, he is very glorious. It is explained that Sant Tukaram Maharaj was initiated in the dream by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left this world already. And Sant Tukaram Maharaj was so enamored by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the dream initiated Tukaram Maharaj. And that's how it is accepted even in the Varkari. It's not just a Gaudiya interpretation, but that's how it is accepted even in the Varkaris. That Sant Tukaram was in the dream initiated by Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Sant Tukaram, throughout his life, we see, was so sold out to the worship of Vitthal. Actually, the history is very interesting. There was a Brahmana by the name Pundalik. And this Pundalik was a devout follower of the Supreme Lord of Vishnu and Narayan and Lakshmi Narayan. And the Supreme Lord was so captivated by his bhakti that he decided to reciprocate. So the Supreme Lord left Vaikuntha and came down to the house of Pundalik in order to speak to him. Imagine Krishna leaving Golok Vrindavan to come to our house to speak to us. Of course, that happens when our bhakti is on the level of Pundalik. But Pundalik was very, very glorious. So Vishnu or Narayan, he left Vaikunta to come down to meet Pundalik. This is in Maharashtra. To come down to meet Pundalik. And at that time, Pundalik was serving his parents. So the Supreme Lord knocked at the door. And when he knocked at the door, Pundalik opened and he saw, oh, the Supreme Lord Vishnu is here. He offered his obeisances. He said, but my dear Lord, you have to wait. I am first serving my parents. I will serve my parents, then I will come and attend to you. The Lord said, well, okay. And it's interesting because normally, well, if you see the Supreme Lord, you will leave everything and want to serve the Supreme Lord. But Pundali gave first preference to his parents and he said, my dear Lord, you wait. So he had a brick in his house. So he threw a brick to the Lord and said, my dear Lord, you stand on this. I don't have anything to give you, but I don't want you to stand on the floor. So you stand on this brick. In Marathi, brick is called wheat. Wheat. So the Supreme Lord said, okay, I will stand on this. It is explained. It has been 28 yugas. Yuge 28 विठेवर उभा. In Maharashtra, when they sing Ganpati Arati, this is one of the lines. Yuge 28 विठेवर उभा. It's been 28 yugas practically that the Supreme Lord is standing on the wheat. That Lord who stands on the wheat is called Vitthal. He stands on the brick. Hmm? So even now when we go to Pandharpur, the deity of Vitthal will be there, but down below we can see that brick. He's standing on the brick. Why? Because Pundlik threw the brick, said, my dear Lord, you wait. I have to first serve my parents. So the Lord is still waiting. Just like in Vrindavan, Puchirika Lota, Lota Baba, in our Govardhan Parikrama Marg, is still waiting for Krishna. Here, Krishna is waiting for his devotee. There, the devotee is waiting for Krishna. Here, Krishna or Vishnu is waiting for his devotee. So, in this land of Maharashtra, this is how the name comes as Vitthal. And Vittal's concert is Rukmini. So, they say Vitthal Rakumai. In Maharashtra, they say Rakumai or Rukmini. So, Tukaram Maharaj comes from such a celebrated history of Varkaris. We see that during their Ekadashi, just like we have Pandanavjal Ekadashi, likewise they have the Ashad Ekadashi. And for the Ashad Ekadashi, they walk all the way to Pandharpur from long distance. I Many start from even Pune. So you can imagine from Pune to Pandharpur by car is about 4 hours. They walk all the way. And you can see this. Many times when we go by car, we see on one corner in white dress, they will all be walking. In a group, they'll all be walking. Some even walk from Mumbai. From Mumbai to Pandharpur is about 8 hours by car. Now you can do the math. How many kilometers that comes up to? And walking that much. It's about maybe 10 times of Giriraj Parikrama or probably more than that. They walk for Ashadi Ekadashi, take darshan of the Lord, and again walk back to Mumbai or to Pune or whichever place. That's how committed they are. So this tradition of offering our feet to the Supreme Lord in the form of parikrama is not just a Gaudiya thing, but it is there in all the sampradayas. Because what can the leg do for the Lord? This is the only service that the leg can offer in the form of parikrama. So Tukaram Maharaj comes from this celebrated historic place of Maharashtra. In fact, throughout our India, we see Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu or the South are the places where many saints were born or they appeared in this world. Keeping Gaudiya to the side, of course, in our Bengal also we have many, but keeping our Gaudiya tradition to the side, we find Maharashtra and the South because in the South we have Ramanujacharya, King Kulashekara, and so many others. And these are personalities that even Prabhupada referred. While at the same time in Maharashtra we have Sant Tukaram, Sant Jnaneshwar, Sant Chokhamela, Janabai, etc. And of course, in the middle region also of India, we find um, Guru Nanak and so many others are there. But predominantly on a higher number, we find these two places there are a lot of sadhus. Tukaram Maharaj was so glorious, so glorious. When he was married and he would do bhajan on top of a hill, Bhandara mountain. And when he would be there, his wife, so during those days, there was no phone, there was no calling, no WhatsApp, no Instagram, none of these things. So how will the wife know in which part of the mountain the husband is sitting? She knows that he is in the mountain, sitting there and doing bhajan, but where in the mountain? So it is explained during lunchtime she would get the lunch for Tukaram Maharaj. And Tukaram Maharaj would be absorbed chanting. For him, the world was disconnected. When he would start chanting, the world would be disconnected. Oftentimes for us, when we start chanting, that's the time we take our cell phone and we keep scrolling. What is the latest update? Because we want to catch up on the updates while at the same time we want to finish our lunch. But for Tukaram Maharaj, it was practically the other way. When he would sit to chant, the world was disconnected. So how would the wife know where Tukaram Maharaj is? Well, she would come with a lunch box and she would keep her ears on the stones of the mountains. And wherever the stones reverberated, Vithala, 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 she would understand, oh, that is the path. Whichever stone would reverberate, she would understand, oh, he has walked this path. That's why the stones are reverberating still the name of the Supreme Lord. And she would keep her ear and then she would go and eventually she would find him. So even the stones of a mountain were reverberating the holy name. So look at how much power a sadhu has. Nowadays, people talk about magic, this magic, that magic, and so many magicians. But this is real magic. This is the magic on such a higher level that even a jad vastu like a stone is chanting the names of the Supreme Lord, is reverberating. And on the flip side, for Sukhamela, the bones of his body are chanting the name of the Lord. While on another side, we have a buffalo chanting the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So for a sadhu, nothing is impossible. He can make the impossible into possible and the possible into impossible. So Tukaram Maharaj like that would do bhajan and his wife would get prasadam for him. To the extent Tukaram Maharaj was so self-realized and so glorious. When he wrote books, he would write different books. And people got very envious of him. That, oh, this person is writing books and he's getting lot of fame and lot of popularity. Let's do one thing. Let's take all his books and throw it in the river. There is Chandrabhaga River. Let's throw all the books in the Chandrabhaga River. Whatever he has written, let's throw. Just like in Vrindavan, we have Jamuna. In Mayapur, we have Ganga and Jalangi. Likewise, in Pandharpur in Maharashtra, we have Chandrabhaga. They said, let's take Tukaram Maharaj's book and throw it in Chandrabhaga. If there is no book, his fame will not spread, which means no one will come here. They took all the books and threw it inside Chandrabhaga. Imagine all the hard work. Everything is underneath Chandrabhaga. Everything gone completely lost. But the Supreme Lord gives a guarantee. Name Bhakta Pranashati. Krishna gives a guarantee. I never leave my devotee. My devotee never perishes. He never perishes. The next day, miraculously, it was seen those same books that were thrown inside Chandrabhaga were now floating on top, as it is, as if nothing had happened. Not even one page was harmed because of the whole incident. All the pages were intact, all the books were floating on top of Chandrabhaga. Tukaram Maharaj very casually went, picked up all the books, and came back home, as if nothing had ever happened. And that's how we have all the books of Tukaram Maharaj now. Very glorious personality, and his glories do not end here. Tukaram Maharaj, when it was time for him to depart this world, he had got an indication from the Lord. Those who are sadhus, those who are pure, Krishna gives them an indication that it's time that you come back to the spiritual world because I need you more than anyone else. You have spent your time in Mother Earth, but now please come back. I am also missing you. So the Lord gives an indication. And Tukaram Maharaj, he when he knew that it was time for him to leave this world, something historic was seen that has never seen, has never ever been seen till date. Tukaram Maharaj For him, Garuda came from the spiritual world down to this world to pick him up and take him back to the spiritual world. There is a place in Maharashtra called Dehu. In at the holy place of Dehu, Garuda, you can imagine Garuda. That Garuda who only comes from Vishnu came down to Maharashtra to Dehu so that Tukaram Maharaj can sit on the back of Garuda. There was a nice throne beaded with jewels on the back of Garuda. We are not talking about Satya Yuga. We are not talking about some previous yugas. We are talking about Kali Yuga. We are talking 500 years back. This pastime occurred 500 years back at the holy place of Dehu, where Garuda comes down, Tukaram Maharaj sits on the back of Garuda. And as he is going to the spiritual world, Tukaram Maharaj says, my only instruction is to all of y'all, never ever give up the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Never ever give up the holy name. This was the last instruction of Tukaram Maharaj. Never ever give up the chanting of the holy name because this holy name is the only medium that connects the living entity back to the Supreme Lord. Tukaram Maharaj. In fact, there is a very beautiful movie about Tukaram Maharaj. It's in Marathi. So those who understand Marathi will really love it. Those who do not, I'm not sure if there are subtitles for it. It's a completely devotional movie. It's a black and white movie made in 1937. So it's not from the present day. So there is no vulgarity involved. It's completely clean. And it's completely the life of Tukaram Maharaj as to how he had interactions with the Supreme Lord. So we can maybe go online to YouTube and see if there is English subtitles to that. But if someone understands Marathi, he will relish it better in the local language. It's very interesting that in that movie, the person who enacted or who played the role of Tukaram Maharaj, he got so inspired by the life of Tukaram Maharaj that after the movie was produced, he in real life took sannyas. He got so inspired by the life of Tukaram Maharaj and he was a grahastha. But he got so inspired after the couple of months of shooting, knowing the life of Tukaram Maharaj, that in reality, after the movie, he took sannyas. So that is how much the mind can get completely inspired by hearing about Tukaram Maharaj. So for those who are Maharashtrians and who understand Marathi, of course, I'm pretty sure you all may have watched it because it's very, very popular in Maharashtra, the life of Tukaram Maharaj. But if you all are not Marathi and you don't follow Marathi, just see if there are subtitles. It's a good absorption for the mind. The life of Tukaram Maharaj and how he did Nirantar Bhajan, constant chanting of the holy name, and how even the stones were reverberating by his chanting. So we are talking about Jnaneshwar, we are talking about Sant Tukaram, we're talking about Tukaram Maharaj, we're talking about Varkaris. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu now is in Pandharpur. Mahaprabhu is in this holy place of Pandharpur in Maharashtra. And as Mahaprabhu is there, it's of paramount importance. We glorify the place and we glorify the sadhus who have blessed that place. Shri Pandharpur Dham ki jai, Shri Sant Tukaram Maharaj ki jai, Shri Sukhamaya ki jai, Sant Jnaneshwar ki jai. So now let's continue. This was just glorification of Pandharpur Dham. After staying at Pandharpur for 4 days, Lord Chaitanya went to the Krishna Venava river and found Caitanya-caritāmṛta book by Bilvamangala Thakur. Shri Bilvamangala Thakur, as we know, is another great sadhu, very, very dear associate of the Supreme Lord. Bilvamangala Thakur has a name called as Leela Shukha, just like Shukadev Goswami Shukha. But that Shukha, who very beautifully glorifies the Leela, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, is called Leela Shukha. Bilvamangala Thakur's another name is Leela Shukha. And one of his celebrated works is Sri Krishna Karunamrit. Krishna means Krishna, Karuna means ear, and Amrit means nectar. That book, which is a complete nectar to the ears of the readers. Why it's a nectar? Because it talks about Krishna. But again, this is the book that is not um, advised to read in the initial stages of our Krishna consciousness. There are some books that are kind of prohibited at this point. Why? Because not that the book is not authentic, but because we are not qualified. So Krishna Karnamrita is one among them. So I'm just naming them, but please do not end up reading or do not go to Loi Bazaar or whatever and end up buying the book. It is meant for those who are very, very matured on the path of Krishna consciousness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finds this book of Bilva Mangala Thakur. He then visited Mahishmatipur, Dhanush Tirtha, Dandakaranya, Pampa. We have Pampa Sarovar in Sri Ram's pastimes, Pampa Sarovar. Panchavati, Nashik again and again reached Vidyanagar and met Raya Ramananda. So again, Mahaprabhu has gone to different places and has even gone to the places where Prabhu Ram lived, like Pampa Sarovar, Nasik. Hmm? Actually, this place is called Nasik in Maharashtra. When Prabhu Ram was in his exile, he lived in Panchavati in Nasik for a very long time. It's called Nasik. Why? Because this was the place where Surpanaga's nose was cut off. Lakshman did a medical surgery for Surpanaka, and the nose was completely cut off. So nose is called Nasika in Sanskrit. Nose is called Nasika. So that place where the Nasika was cut off of Surpanaka is called the present day Nasik in Maharashtra. So the naming is so beautiful. We see all these names are based on our Shastras, based on these epics that were enacted by the Supreme Lord. So Mahabharata is going to all these places like Panchavati and Pampa Sarovar and Dandakaranya and Nasik and all these places where Prabhu Ram lived during his exile and eventually comes back to Vidyanagar where he meets Ramananda Rai, that is Vishaka Sakhi. Radharani has done all the Brahman, all the parikrama and all the walking only to come back and meet Sri Ramananda Rai. He gave a vivid description of his travels and two books, Krishna Karanamrit and Brahma Samhita, to Rai Ramananda and said, whatever you have told me about Siddhanta is supported by these two books. Ramananda Rai happily tasted their contents with the Lord and made a copy of each. We see very interestingly, and this is a parallel that we see time and again. Whenever these associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they find a book, they immediately make a copy. And making a copy means not going to the Xerox shop, not going there and saying, do photocopy bana ke dena. Not like that. Because there's no printing, there's no photocopy during that time. Making a copy means handwriting, writing it word by word, letter by letter, words by words, translation by translation for the whole book. So Ramananda Rai makes now a copy of Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita. And earlier we also found how Ramdas Vipra also, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Madurai gets one of the Puranas, he gives it to Ramdas Vipra, and Ramdas Vipra also makes a copy. These personalities are making a copy. Why? They already know what is the need for Ramananda Rai to make a copy. Well, he knows everything. He's Vishaka Sakhi. But they are making copies for the people of the future generation. Why? Because if one book, one copy gets stolen, at least there is another edition that's still there. The work is not lost. So much compassion, so much para dukkha dukhi. So this Ramananda Rai did, making two copies of Krishna Karanamrit and the Brahma Samhita. Ramananda Rai informed the Lord that he got the permission from the king to go to Jagannath Puri and that he would come there soon to associate with Lord Chaitanya. Who was the king? Maharaj Prataparudra. Maharaj Prataparudra is the king. So Ramananda Rai is working for Maharaj Prataparudra. Interestingly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we will see this later, but nonetheless, I would want to say it at this point. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to associate much with Maharaj Prataparudra initially. Why? Because Maharaj Prataparudra was the king, and king means lot of Aishwarya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. Sannyasi is someone who has renounced everything, and king is someone who is there around luxury, wealth, gold, etc. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said he is a Vishayi. He is someone who is entangled in the luxuries of this world, and I have given them up, so I don't want to associate. And different devotees were begging Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no, no, he's a good devotee also. Why don't you also said? Mahaprabhu said no. But interestingly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu liked the son of Maharaj Prataprudra. When the son of Maharaj Prataprudra came, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him and gave all his mercy to him. Why? Because Kaviraj Goswami later he will say, the son of Prataprudra reminded Chaitanya Mahaprabhu strongly about Krishna. Just the presence of the son of Maharaj Prataprudra reminded Mahaprabhu of Krishna Vrindavan, and now Mahaprabhu loved the child so much that he embraced him and gave his mercy. But Maharaj Prataprudra, he said, no, he's a king, he's a Vishayi, he's drowning and he's dipped in worldly pleasures. I will not give my mercy. And the Lord got so many recommendations. Sarva Bhauma Bhattacharya gave recommendation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said no. And they were giving different reasons why Mahaprabhu should meet Maharaj Prataprudra. At one point, Mahaprabhu said, if you keep pestering this way, I will leave Jagannath Puri. I will not stay here. If you just keep saying meet, I will leave. I don't want to stay here. So then the devotees, they kept quiet. What can they say? Because they want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here. At the same time, they want Maharaj Prataprudra also. Maharaj Prataprudra was so sold out to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he heard this, he he says, Raja kahe ami tomar daser anudas, bhrityara bhritya koro ei mora ash. The Raja, that is Maharaj Prataprudra, he says, Raja kahe ami tomar daser anudas. He says, my dear Lord, I am the servant of your servants. Bhrityara bhritya koro ei mora ash. He says, my dear Lord, when you look at me, you don't look at me as your servant, but look at me as the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. Bhrityara bhritya koro ei mora ash. The servant of your beloved servant of your beloved servant of your beloved servant of your beloved servant. And this is our mood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Das Das Anudas. We are not just a servant, we are the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. The more we are behind the list, the more we become the recipients of mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the more we push ourselves ahead, the more we are bereft of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this has been explained so many times in Caitanya-caritāmṛta. So Maharaj Pratap Rudra says, Raja kahe ami tomar daseranu das, bhrityara bhritya karo ai mora ash. So here we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he meets Ramananda Rai says, the king has given permission. Interestingly, the king gives permission. Maharaj Pratap Rudra gave permission. Why? Because he tells Ramananda Rai, the Lord is not wanting to meet me, but he is wanting to meet you. So at least you go. I will give you all the holidays that you want. He is not meeting me, but at least he is ready to meet you. So why should I deprive you of his mercy? You go. Whatever support you want, whatever holidays you want, I will give, but you just go. And go and serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will feel through you, I am also able to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a little. What magnanimity by Maharaj Pratap Rudra. He doesn't think, hey, I am the king, I am not getting Mahaprabhu. Why will he get? He should also not. He doesn't think all this. Very compassionate. He says, well, I am not getting, but at least you are getting, you go. Through you, I will feel I am serving Gauranga. Lord Chaitanya then departed for Jagannath Puri. Reaching Alalnath, he sent Kala Krishna Das ahead to call for Nityananda Prabhu and others. Nityananda, Jagadananda, Damodar, Mukunda, Gopinath, Sarvabhauma, all ecstatically received the Lord and they all went to Jagannath temple. Kashi Mishra fell at the Lord's lotus feet and the Lord respectfully embraced him. Lord Chaitanya stayed at Sarvabhauma's house that night and spoke of his pilgrimage to all the devotees. Hmm. Oftentimes, when we go for yatra and we come back from yatra, devotees say, Prabhuji, what all did you see? Which all places did you go? What did Maharaj speak in those yatras? And then we very fondly remember. We met these devotees, we went to these places. Maharaj said this, Maharaj embraced me, Maharaj looked at me, Maharaj glanced at me. Devotees fondly remember all those things. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now fondly remembering his yatra and he's narrating to Nityananda Prabhu, Jagadananda, Gopinath, Acharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, etc. And amidst this personality, if we see, one more name was taken, Kashi Mishra. Kashi Mishra's offering obeisance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Eventually, we will see in the Antilila of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, when Mahaprabhu, after this pilgrimage, when he again comes back to Jagannath Puri in order to permanently stay in Jagannath Puri, from the age of 30 to 48, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stays in the house of Kashi Mishra. Kashi Mishra says, "My dear Lord, will you please stay at my place?" And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agrees. And that house of Kashi Mishra is the famous Gambhira at Jagannath Puri. Mhm. So Gambhira is the house of Kashi Mishra. So Kashi Mishra now gets his introduction done to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only to give his house to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his final pastimes. Having said this, Mahaprabhu has come back to Jagannath Puri very happy after his pilgrimage of South India and so many other places. And we are also happy after being with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to South India and Maharashtra and Nasik and so many other places without spending any money. We've all gone to these places with Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And now we will see what happens next as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come back to the land of Jagannath Puri. Having said this, dear devotees, I very humbly want to stop here. Thank you all very much. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Chachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai.